Hi, I'm Cortland Wheeler, and I'm excited to talk about my latest 100-mile race, the Uwharrie 100-mile trail race. I'm really excited to talk about this one because I feel like the race director did it right. He is an ultra runner himself, and he must have figured out what worked and what he liked in other races and implemented those in his own race. And I'm also going to answer a few questions that a YouTuber asked, Michael. Michael asked a few questions, so I'm happy to answer those. So the first question she asked is, what pack did I use? So yeah, I oftentimes in some of the Florida 100-mile races I just use handheld bottles, but with some of these tougher trail races, I like to use a vest, a hydration pack. So the Ultimate Direction Anton Krupicka. It's the slightly more advanced Anton Krupicka. There's like a minimalist one, and then there's like the typical one that has more pockets and more available options, more of a backpack to it. So yeah, this has worked out for me very well. I ran with this at Eastern States 100-mile race, and this latest trail race, Uwharrie, and I recommend it. I haven't experimented with like a vast number of these, so it's not like I can say this is so much superior than all the other ones. But I had a more minimalistic Anton Krupicka Ultimate Direction vest, and I have this one, and of course I like this one better. I can keep more gear in there, which kind of segues to his other question, how heavy and how much gear I have. So it's really not very heavy. In fact, when the weight is on your chest and on your back, when your arms can swing without the weight on your arms, I would say it actually feels like you have less weight than when the weight is on your arms. Then, so I can't tell you exactly how much it weighs. It is the 2-liter bladder in there, and I'm going to upgrade like the 2.5-liter bladder. But I can't tell you exactly how much it weighs, but it's not enough to bother me and slow me down a lot. So, and mandatory gear. This race did not require any like mandatory gear to be with me. Like some races, if it's a road race, will require like a reflective vest or reflective belt, or like red blinking lights. In some mountain races, I'm going out west next summer for some mountain races, and some of those required you to have like a really sturdy wind and water and rain-proof jacket. So this race being not at altitude, just being like a tough trail race, didn't require any special gear, any mandatory gear. But I did, bring a lot, like some blister band-aids, some Vaseline for lubricant, so to prevent chafing, the gels, the food that I used, those were all in the vest that I had with me. Anything else? I guess like S-caps, S-caps are an electrolyte tablet that you can take along the way, and some ibuprofen in there. Let's see. Yeah, but maybe I think I had like arm sleeves in there because it did get a little bit chilly at night. And in the back of the vest, in this part right here, I had a rain jacket. Not because it was going to rain, just because it's extra layer to keep me warm at night. So moving on from the questions, just to my general opinion and review of the race and why I'm so excited to talk about this one. I would say, like, so many of the details, so much of the attention to detail was so well done in this race. Just little things matter. For instance, at the race start, having an adequate number of porta potties, just because you don't want to start the race feeling like you have to go relieve yourself. And there should be an adequate number based on the number of people that are starting the race. So if there's 500 people in the race and there's only 2 bathrooms, you can have long lines, and some people might miss the race start. And this one, It was 4 porta potties, and there was like 100 people total in the race, like 50 in the 100 mile and like 50 in the 100K. So that was fine. It worked out well. The lines were moving, and you could make the race start on time. So that's just one example of an attention to detail. There was also a really personalized touch. It was a husband and wife, Dan and Amanda, that put on the race, and it was very like personalized touch. They shook your hand, they met you, they were happy to greet you and tell you about the race, and it just blew my mind on the race number, which is actually like a pretty beautifully printed race number. Another example of just how small the race number is. Instead of having a big bulky bib that you need to, that's going to hinder your movement, just a nice small race number like that. But they even wrote like handwritten notes, and they actually put their phone number on there. I don't want to like show it off too much so that you can have their phone number, but yeah, you can just see, I'll cover it up, just handwritten notes of encouragement on there. That just blew my mind. Like, wow, someone really cares about the runners in the race. So that was really cool. Other good things about the race: the aid stations were very, very good, very helpful. Very experienced runners were in the aid stations, and a lot of wide varieties of food. I'm a plant-based vegan athlete, and sometimes the options at aid stations can be a lot more limited and difficult. And obviously, there were still a small percentage of the food was available for vegans to eat, but they had, for instance, like they had wraps of hummus and avocado, which I've never had that before in a race, and sometimes I'd be worried about trying something new in a race like that. But just hummus and avocado just seemed like such a perfect food that I never thought of it, put it together to try that, and I did, and it went well. And actually, that reminds me, there was one other question from Michael, and I can actually go to that now because he asked about food, about my nutrition plan in the race. And yeah, hummus and avocado wraps, I'm going to try that again in the future because I tried it in this race and it worked very well for my stomach. Honestly, in this race, I ate less really dense, solid food. Like sometimes I'll eat Cliff Bars and Lara Bars, and they can be kind of like heavy in the stomach. And in this race, I ate a little bit more lighter foods. I ate some vegan vegetable ramen noodle soup because it got a little cold in the night. I ate the hummus and avocado wraps. I ate a lot of gels. I ate some of my fruit leather chews. I ate my usual like watermelon and oranges, some fruit that really helps me get through it. I love the taste of fruit. It's like hydrating. It's energy. It really works well for me. All right, I'll say one last good thing about this race. The craftsmanship, like the metal work that went into the belt buckle, and that, like worrying too much about a trophy or a medal or a buckle. That's not what it's all about, but it's kind of nice to have a little like token of that race, like a piece to hold on to, and maybe even wear. I don't usually wear belt buckles. My style is a little more relaxed with this like chill clothes, but yeah, I'll show you the belt buckle. It's a really high quality piece. It's like a work of art. You can see. Is the camera focused on that? That's really cool. It's just, I really appreciate high quality work. I'm sure it's not cheap. It's comes from Creative Castings in Texas, which I have 2 other 100-mile belt buckles from that company, and they make a really high quality product. Like it's heavy, like you feel the weight of the metal in your hand, and you can see like the paint that went into it. That's it's just something to appreciate about 100-mile race. That it's the belt buckle. It goes all the way back to the original 100-mile trail races. Went back to horse racing, and they give out belt buckles for horse racing, and now they continued the tradition into 100-mile running trail races and 100-mile running races, and I really like that. So thanks for watching. I highly recommend Uwharrie 100 if you want like a tough trail race with a lot of good support, a lot of attention to detail that went into it. It's not going to be easy. It was not an easy race. It's like There's a few stats. It was like 18,000 feet of gain, which is a decent amount of feet of elevation to climb on the hills. And the trails were technical. It was 100% technical trail. And it was challenging, but it was so worth it, and had a great experience. And my second slowest time out there, but I guess probably because it was my second hardest 100-mile race. Yep. Thank you for watching.